All right.
Plant points, basically the latest evidence, or there's a huge wealth of evidence that proves that eating a greater variety of plants is really, really good for your health. Ultimately, it impacts on your gut microbiome, and if your gut is healthy and happy, your body's healthy and happy. And when we talk about variety, this isn't about quantity. It's not like 5 a day where you have to consume a certain amount. This is about packing as many different plants into your diet as possible. And a plant is everything from a fruit, a vegetable, nuts, seeds, legumes, herbs, spices, etc. And the guidance is that you should be eating a minimum of 30 a week.
Yeah.
When I speak to people, they go, oh my goodness, how on
Sounds like
earth am I going to weave 30 plants into my diet? But actually, it's much easier than you think. And one of the things I want to talk about now is how you can incorporate a wider variety of plants into your diet.
Yeah.
So, can you give me an idea of some of the really simple things I could do and our listeners could do to eat more plants, basically?
Yeah, I think when it comes to increasing the diversity and variety of plants that we eat, and that number 30, it can sound like a lot. It can sound really overbearing,
yeah.
And it can switch people off. I think sometimes people think that sounds too high a number. That's not achievable. I'm not going to even try. But when I've been talking to people about this, I always tend to think of a busy family where they don't want to spend any more money. They don't want to do any additional cooking necessarily. They don't want to have to create new recipes. But there are some really, really simple swaps you can make. So the number one I always say is, if you buy a can of red kidney beans every week because you use those in a chilli or a stew or whatever, switch it out for a can of mixed beans. Or if you buy a can of chickpeas or lentils and you put them in a curry, again, switch it out for a can of mix. That way, you've gone from 1 to 5 already.
Brilliant.
In the week. Doesn't cost anything else. You don't have to change anything. And if you shop online, once you've made that switch once, essentially it's done for life. My second one is thinking about what you snack on.
Yeah.
And if you snack on nuts, switching out cashew nuts for mixed nuts, and thinking about always having some mixed seeds in the house as well to sprinkle on cereal, salads. That's a really cheap, easy way to increase and boost it. One that I'll put in there, it's not necessarily about plant points, but switching from white to whole grain. Particularly, I work with a lot of families who eat a lot of rice, might have rice twice a day, and switching from white rice to brown rice, or even from white rice to basmati rice, which is somewhere in between. If you make that switch, but you make that switch for the rest of your life, that is going to have a significant difference to your health. You will live longer and you will live more healthily. If you run one marathon once, it's not going to make a difference to your life and your health in 20 years. But these tiny little changes about things that we do frequently are what are really important. Back to the plant points then. So again, with fruit, we tend to get into a bit of a habit of these are the fruits that we buy, trying to switch it up and changing it. So if you have children, letting them choose a new fruit, choose a new vegetable every time you go shopping. And the final one would be always buy a bag of that mixed stir-fry veg.
Yes.
Just add that to your shopping list. It costs £1 and chuck it into a meal. Any meal, it doesn't matter. And that's about an extra £5 you're getting there as well.
I mean, I think what you've just articulated is brilliant. I mean, the simplest way is if you buy a single variety of something, move to a mixed.
Exactly.
Whether mixed fruit, mixed vegetables, mixed seeds, mixed nuts. I think that's a fantastic, an easy swap for everybody to do.
Yeah.
I want to come back to easy swaps because you talked about whole grain with white bread and white rice.
Yeah.
What other really simple swaps can people make? Not the sort of variety we've just talked about, but anything else that you could swap out which would immediately boost the nutritional value of your diet? Because I know people really struggle to eat variety and get a really balanced diet through that way. So are there anything else that you could offer that we can do differently?
Yeah, well, I think the best way to get all the nutrients that we need, all the complex nutrition that a human being needs, is to have a very healthy, balanced, nutritious diet, which is mostly plants, but, you can have a healthy diet that involves consuming some animal products as well. But the reality is, I think a lot of people do struggle with that. And therefore things like supplements are available they're inexpensive. But, I don't necessarily recommend supplements per se. When people ask me about supplements, I say, well, you kind of need to do your own little assessment of what you typically eat. So say, for example, you're somebody who really doesn't eat very many vegetables because you don't like them and you're not really realistically willing or able to make that change, then thinking about something like vegetables in powdered form and adding them to a smoothie is probably the next best thing. Or if you're somebody who doesn't eat fish, you don't like fish, then maybe thinking about taking a supplement that contains omega-3. If you live a vegan lifestyle, it is possible to live a vegan lifestyle and get every nutrient you need, but it's hard work. It's a challenge. So most people who are choosing to be vegan for whatever reason will benefit from taking some supplements. So I'm not somebody who is massively against supplements or massively for supplements. I think they're really helpful, handy thing that is available, but we all need to do that assessment. And obviously vitamin D is the exception. We should all be supplementing with vitamin D in the winter months and for many of us, including myself, all year round.
So supplements are exactly that. They're supplements on top of a varied, balanced diet would be the best advice you're saying.
Yeah,
That's
and
great.
if you can get everything you need from a healthy, balanced diet and just take vitamin D in winter, magnificent and well done. But I think realistically, if we ask ourselves, it's hard work. And then obviously, we're not really talking about children, but children aged between 6 months and 5 years should have supplements as well.
Yeah. And is there any nutrient you think people neglect in their diets? It's not talked about enough. We talk a lot about, protein and we talk about fibre and all of those things. But are there any sort of that we don't talk about very much that you think people need to be aware of, making sure they incorporate?
Actually, do you know what? I think the most important essential nutrient that we often forget about is water. We have to consume it. And I think, it's the most readily available free thing that we all have access to, yet we often neglect to not drink enough water. And I know it's something I personally struggle with as well. I see these people carrying the 5 litre water and I just admire them, but I can't be bothered. It's too much. But yeah, I mean, water, it's free, it's available, and actually at just 1%, if our bodies are just 1% dehydrated, that can impact our ability to concentrate, it can impact our mood, it can impact how we feel, and therefore impact our food choices, it can impact our ability or our decisions around whether we exercise. So I think, water is the first one. And it's all about building habits, isn't it? And it's not easy to build a habit, but I keep going back to this one that my friend Jenny tells me. So she always has 2 pints of water. When she goes to bed at night, she has 2 pints of water, one to drink through the night, one to drink as soon as she gets up, and then she has another one in the shower.
Gosh.
So she's had 3 pints of water when she starts the day, and, that's sort of taken care of. But yeah, I would say water.
I would never have thought that. I think we're developing a list of commandments here. Get great sleep, eat more plants, and drink lots of water. So it's fantastic.
And move your body.
And move your body, yes. I know the listeners will be fascinated to hear what your diet is or any particular regimes you follow. Can you share a little bit about what you eat at the moment and how you think about your diet? Yeah,
so I guess I kind of follow that 80-20 rule where I love food. I love having a glass of wine. I'm absolutely not perfect. But me and my partner, between us, do the shopping, but I probably do most of it. I just don't have unhealthy stuff in the house. We both like to cook when we get the chance, but we have been using some of those sort of semi-prepped meal boxes because they are quite handy and helpful with busy lives. So my rule has pretty much always been I cook mostly healthy food.
Yeah.
Largely, we do eat meat, but I'll always put in a tin of lentils and half the amount of mince that I used to if I'm making a chilli or something like that. But then if I'm out with my friends for brunch on the weekend, I'll have whatever I want, including pudding and a second glass of wine.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how I
It's one, but it still sounds very
Stick to
balanced.
it. It's still balanced, and
Yeah.
yeah, definitely not perfect. And yeah, we do get takeaways as
Yeah.
well. Sometimes. Usually on
Actually, that's
Saturday.
another great swap you just mentioned. If you're making a chili or a cottage pie or something like that, using half the amount of meat and
Yeah.
then adding lentils in is a great way of incorporate another plant into your diet, isn't it?
Yeah, and that way you can afford to.
And it's cheaper.
You can afford to buy better quality meat if you do that as
Yeah.
well. If you're buying a small packet of sort of organic, beef mince, which is what I would choose, and then add in a tin of lentils as well. In that way,
Yeah.
you've increased the plants, it's cost less, and you're more ethical with the meat that you're using.
Yeah.